Hi guys, I've really been enjoying seeing your measurements. You guys are doing an excellent job measuring to a half inch. Today we're going to take it a little bit further and we're going to learn how to measure to a quarter of an inch. Because I'm sure as you were measuring all of those things, there were several times when you got in between your item was halfway in between 2.5 and 3, or halfway in between 1 and 1.5. Well, guess what? There's more measurements that we can put in between there because we know a half of a half is a quarter. So we're gonna take a look at our ruler again today. And remember, we're measuring to the quarter inch today. And remember, we had talked about how our ruler looks like a number line. There's our number line from the other day. And we had divided our number line into halves. Well, today we're going to go ahead and divide that number line into quarters. And those of you who are using rulers from home or tape measures, yours is probably divided like this already. Those of you who brought rulers home from me, yours should be divided by like this. I'm going to go ahead and write the 1/4 in on my number line, my ruler. And then we're going to go ahead and fill in our measurement on there. Now we know that this is 1 whole inch. We can divide it in half or we can divide it in quarters. And so that first one is going to be 1/4. This 1/2 is going to be the same as 2/4. And then this line is going to be 3/4. And then we get to our 1 whole, which is the same as 4/4. So we're just going to do that over and over as we move inch by inch. Here's 1 and 1/4. I'm not going to put anything on here because 1/2 and 2/4 is the same thing. And then I bump up to the next fourth, and that would be 3/4. And then I've got 2 inches, and then I go 2 and 1/4, 2 and 2/4, 2 and 3/4, 3 and 1/4, 3 and 2/4, 3 and 3/4. 4 and 1/4, 4 and 2/4, 4 and 3/4. All right, so I've got mine all filled in and ready to measure now. All right, so now I've got some lines that I've drawn and I've got my ruler. I'm ready to start measuring. Again, I'm going to put the corner of my ruler to the end of that line. I'm going to start on the left and move toward the right. And I like to move inch by inch as I go so I remember where I'm at on my ruler. So here I'm starting at 0. I pass 1 inch, but this line does not go all the way to 2 inches. So that means I got to back up and figure out where I'm at in between 1 and 2 inches. So I'm going to go back to 1 inch and I'm going to go 1 and 1/4, 1.5, 1 and 3/4. So this line is going to be 1 and 3/4 inch long. I drop down to this other one. I line up my ruler. I'm going to start at 0, move it on down, past 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inches. Don't get all the way to 4 inches, so I'm going to back up to 3 inches and go 3 and 1/4, 3 and 2/4 or 1/2, and 3 and 3/4 is where my line ends. So the measurement for this line is 3 and 3/4. I'm going to drop down to number 3 here, do the same thing. I pass 1 inch, past 2 inches. I'm just barely past 2 inches, so I can just say 2 and 1/4 is where this line ends. And notice how I write my measurement. I put my whole number here, my big number, and then right up next to it I write that fraction. This is a teeny tiny line, doesn't even make it to a 1/2 inch. So starting at 0, I don't make it all the way to 1, so this is just going to be 1/4 of an inch long. And then this last one is a nice long line. I'm going to start here and move all the way down. I hit 4 inches, but I don't make it all the way to 5 inches, so I'm going to back up to 4, 4 and 1/4, 4.5, 4 and 3/4 is where that line ends. So 4 and 3/4 is my measurement.